Hey everybody, I'm Ben Higgins.
Hey, I'm Serena Pitt.
Hey, this is Blake Moynes.
Hey guys, I'm Brendan Scanzano.
Hi, this is Alana Milne.
Hey, I'm Lindsay Hamilton.
And you're watching the Bros Ceremony.
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 And you're watching Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching the Bros Ceremony.
This is the Bros Ceremony.
Your journey's about to begin.
Recapping the week that was in Bachelor Nation and previewing what's to come in the next episode with some special betting odds.
Everyone can't wait to find out what happens next week.
Here are your hosts, Michael the Hound Dog Harrison and Adam Scully.
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
You're bringing out a side of me that I've never seen before.
Aww.
Hello and welcome inside episode 38 of the Bros Ceremony. Adam Scully alongside Michael the Hound Dog Harrison. Michael, can you think of a number 38 in the sports world who has had a big impact on his or her particular sport?
Oh boy, 38. Wasn't there a goalie like Chuck Manick or Robert Esch?
Huey, baby.
First of all, Huey. I think they say Robert Esch, maybe something like that. I don't
42.
know.
He was 42.
Oh, 42. That's a weird. That's a Kyle Wellwood and Tyler Bozak number 40. 42 for a goalie. Very weird. Anyway, 38. Your boy, Crystal Ball Huey.
Yes, you know what? And the past two podcasts I had opened asking how you're doing. Now I know our beloved Seahawks won on Sunday, so I'm just going to presume that you're in an incredibly good mood today.
Well, yeah, Adam. Unfortunately, I don't have any rants off the top of this episode because of that. Like I said, it sucks when they lose, but it's a lot more fun for content for the podcast when they do lose, because then obviously I'm way more maniacal and I'm very, very, very upset about it. But yes, by the way, but what I'm trying to say though, they won. Geno Smith had the most passes completed to start a game this season of any quarterback. So what I'm trying to say is, Adam, that Geno Smith should be the MVP of the NFL.
What are his odds right now to be the NFL MVP?
1 trillion to 1, I believe, are the odds. So I don't think it's going to happen, Adam. Don't think it's going to happen.
All right, for 1 trillion to 1 for Geno Smith. Now, Geno Smith had a great Sunday, and speaking of great, Bachelor Nation, another great week, all in all, 2 riveting, thrilling episodes. We'll talk about the Bachelorette and preview tonight's episode in a little while here, but this past Sunday, Bachelor in Paradise Canada was especially special, was great because our good friend, former guest on this show, perhaps future guest on the show, Brendan Scanzano, was the show. The entire show was about him. The first 2 episodes? Whatever. The first couple of episodes, 3 episodes were, him and Ileana had gotten together early on. They had met early on, and they were just sort of in the background. Some, kisses here and there, maybe a couple conversations, but really nothing to whatever. But this episode, it was 90 minutes, and quite literally, it was all about him.
Yeah, well, yeah, my best friend, Brendan Scanzano, it's great to see him front and center in the episode. And like you said, and it started off with just the most beautiful backdrop you've ever seen, like his hot tub date there with Ileana. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. The view and everything, you couldn't replicate it. You couldn't even draw it up. As we all know, I'm such an amazing artist, Adam, and I'm such a great sculptor and painter and drawer and all that stuff, and I'm the absolute worst in the world. But yeah, you couldn't even draw it up. It was beautiful, the sunset and everything like that.
Yeah, it certainly was, and that's how the episode began, with a bottle of red and some good conversation, and talking about as they do in Bachelor Nation. Oh, if someone else came on, I don't know, like maybe I'd give them a chance, but I'm so into you, you're the best. And of course, that's where things start to unravel. Is unravel the right word? I don't know if that's the right word, but
derail, something like that, possibly.
Yeah, and at first it was Alex talking with Ileana. I believe his name is Alex, the guy with the beard, and then Brendan and Caitlin, who are Caitlin's also in the Toronto area. That's when their friendship was really shown on TV in terms of advice given from Caitlin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Caitlin and Scanzy for sure seem like they're really, really good friends, and she had great advice throughout the whole episode. I felt so bad for her because she was obviously trying to give advice and trying to keep everybody level-headed and everything like that. But no matter what she said or did, it seemed like Camille wasn't quite having it, so she was definitely exhausted through all that. But speaking of also of friendships, I must say, Adam, and if the Bachelor in Paradise Canada gods could align perfectly, I obviously the odds, speaking of odds earlier, the odds are very unlikely for this, but my two bias aside, because obviously, as I said, Brendan Scanzano is my best friend. So obviously that wouldn't, if you take him out of the equation, because it wouldn't be fair. My two favorite people of the season are Lisa and Chris. I think they're just the most entertaining, and they struck up a bit of a friendship. They're showing a bit more of them, being buddies or whatever on this episode. So what I'm hoping, Adam, the odds are very, very long, but that Lisa and Chris end up an item. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, odds are certainly long. And you mentioned Chris there. Chris was certainly honest throughout this whole process. It's in one of his one-on-one interviews saying that, this week, my best chance to stick around is a friendship rose from Lisa. And they chat a little bit. And then Chris and Vay start to have a little conversation. No smoochy smooch, but Chris certainly trying to weigh his options.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, now that we go, 5 minutes into the episode, I can't believe I didn't even bring this up at all. Talking about my best friend, because he's not actually my best friend. He's your best friend. I'm very jealous of that. Unbelievably, I didn't even mention the fact, or maybe you did, that you watched the episode with the man himself, Brendan. So how was that experience, him watching himself and you watching his reactions to himself?
You know what? It was a cool experience. It was just him and I. We were watching it together. And, like I mentioned off the top, the entire episode was about him. And, he talks about his life story, which we'll get into in a little bit here. But it was cool to, hear his perspective about, how much we didn't see, or, taking a little snippet from a 40-minute conversation. It was a cool experience. And I told a couple of other friends, yes, spoiler, I do have other friends, saying, oh, I watched it with him. Yeah, okay, whatever. And then I sent a selfie of us. Says, oh my God, you actually watched it with him. Yeah. So it was a cool experience watching with him. And who knows, maybe it'll happen again soon, very soon.
Are you able to divulge, good word, any extra information that maybe perhaps we didn't see that he told you? Nothing, obviously. I wouldn't want to get you in trouble with him, and then jeopardize that best friendship that you guys have. But could you reveal anything that behind the scenes that he said to you that was rather intriguing?
Michael, as we've spoken about on the show before, I played hockey back in the day, and I took a few too many pucks off the noggin. So I am completely blanking right now.
Oh,
but perhaps at some point before this episode ends, I'll have a nugget or two that I'll just drive in there subtly. Maybe. I can't really promise much.
Was he maybe throwing shade toward Joey, who threw shade toward him, and when he said that Brendan was acting like a lost puppy? Perhaps
there might have been an eye roll, perhaps, or when another guy also named Adam, great name by the way, showed up. There might have been a comment or two, but nothing too out of the ordinary. But you mentioned there the shade, throwing shade, and it is funny how on these shows they get their sponsors involved, whether it's Twisted Tea or Kits, a pair of glasses where you can actually get a free pair of glasses, your first pair you get. I was actually looking online. And it was funny how it
sponsorship there, Adam. Good ad read.
Yeah, Bro Ceremony presented by Kits. Yeah,
an ad read, and you can actually use your name. Okay, it's all coming together. This is gonna be perfect.
Kits. This is perfect. This is our demo reel for Kits, where you can get your first pair of glasses for free. Subscribe to us at broceremony.ca/kits. How'd I do there?
You know what? Pretty good, Adam.
So thank you. So during everyone was given a pair of glasses from Kits and decided to throw shade at them, to pick someone to throw shade at. And Michael, I thought, given that we saw that on TV, I thought it'd be fun to do something similar. So Kits actually provided me these pair of glasses here. So I'm going to do this. These aren't from Kits, but they're just a pair of glasses that are right here. I'm trying to think of something to throw shade at you about. And you know what? I think it's going to be the Irish exit. That's something that you just have to improve on. You've missed out on some pretty big opportunities, and this is something you need to work on here going forward.
I was at the Maple Leaf game, brag, on Saturday, and had a great time. Maple Leafs won. Was with my buddies. Unfortunately, just left without saying goodbye. I don't know why. I think I just, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm, too tired. I need to get the heck out of here. And I do that. Unfortunately, as you said, it happened to me in the summer as well. And I missed out on seeing a prominent NHL player by like 2 minutes. But I've improved, Adam, on that a little bit. I actually still sent him a text and said, I'm leaving, I'm going home, which is better than the past where I would just totally leave without actually saying anything at all. So slight improvements. Maybe by the time I'm like 73 years old, I'll be better at that. But still, it's a work in progress. By the way, you put your sunglasses on. I'll be right back in 1 second for my sunglasses.
Okay. So while Michael goes back, it was hard to find something to throw shade at about my co-host here, Michael the Hound Dog Harrison, because as all of you viewers and listeners know, he is the perfect human being. I think that's just, I'm not sure if you heard any of that. Maybe you did, I don't know. But now you're back and now you got the shade. So now it's your turn to throw shade at me.
Yeah, so Adam, normally I would say that you are the hottest Adam going, obviously. But as we touched on already, Adam came into the show, firefighter. And I'm starting to wonder, Adam, I think you're not the hottest Adam going right now. I think you've been usurped, good word, by the Adam who is stealing Brendan's girl, Ileana, away from Brendan, which I do not like at all. So sorry, Adam, you are the... Oh, now you've thought of something, to make fun of me about?
No, I just think we should do a segment with sunglasses on. I think we got to get Kits to sponsor us, throwing shade or, a shady moment. But yeah, I mean, you know what? And first of all, he's a full-time firefighter. They wanted to make that clear. And second of all, and they mentioned this on the show, what's up with all of the firefighters? Like, is that just like a prerequisite to be on The Bachelor? You got to be a firefighter.
I suppose if you were to draw up, in theory anyway, the perfect job title that someone may want in a potential mate, story associate, which is what I am at work. Right. Don't quite think that usually has quite the same cachet. Firefighter, however, yeah, firefighter is a little bit better. So I guess that or athlete, I think, are the two that you would probably say, or lawyer, I guess maybe that would be the ones that people would be most, or doctor, that type in that realm anyway.
You know what, Michael, this was a fun activity with the sunglasses. Yesterday, we actually posted a screenshot of us in the sunglasses on Instagram with a caption of why on earth were Hound Dog and Scully wearing glasses. Tune in tomorrow to find out. We saw some pretty funny comments from there. Nice teaser.
Kits.
What's that?
And we, of course, at Kits, and then obviously then Kits clearly sees that and go, we're going to give you $1 billion. That's already happened, Adam. Spoiler alert, they've given us $1 billion already.
So this is released. We're in Vegas right now. We're not even in the country. We're playing Shadow Creek right now.
Oh my God. Don't get me started on golf. I know so we have the weather here in Canada still pretty good, but pretty soon, in a few weeks, probably no more golf, which is going to be super, super rattling, unfortunately.
And while golf will be shutting down here in the GTA, we have some exciting news, which we will release at some point here in the coming weeks about where we will be, which might result in a bit of a break from the show. Not a hiatus, but maybe just a week off, but only time will tell. Now, you mentioned Adam, not me, the other Adam. He arrives on the dock and as per usual, does the stop and chats, the speed dating as he called it. And that's where he met Ileana, and Ileana said yes to the date. But before they left for said date, where she was going to be his queen, I think was the date card, she gave Brendan S. or Scans a tap on the shoulder saying, I'll see you soon. So do you think there's any significance behind that?
Well, as in like foreshadowing, possibly. That's a good question. I hadn't even quite considered that, but it certainly seems like, anyway, as we of course will know if anyone who watched it, at the end of the episode, she's on another date with Adam. So 2 dates in 1 episode. Obviously, they're really trying to drive home the point that they're probably going to be an item. Excuse me, I'm so upset about it. My voice.
Whoa.
I'm so upset about it, for my boy Brendan, that my voice got a little bit crackly there, But I actually have a feeling that even though they're setting you up to want you to think that she's going to leave Brendan for Adam, I think she's going to give Brendan her rose. I do.
I guess we'll have to see what happens going forward here next week. And, you mentioned the second date does occur, but during that first date, that's where they started showing Brendan a lot, talking with Caitlin and Camille. You saw Kevin was briefly there as well. And then Brendan sort of went into a deeper dive on his upbringing, his background. And that's where, I know a lot of people on social media were reaching out to him at the time saying like, you're welcome to a family dinner anytime you want, Brendan. We joke all the time about, people going on the show for whatever reason, but as we both know, he's just a good dude. And now a lot of people are rooting for him, as they fairly should.
Yeah, I genuinely seemed like a good dude looking for love. And, like there's so many people on these shows or whatever. It's just pretty clear that they're there for the fame or, as we've seen on Bachelor, the American Bachelor in Paradise, it's very obvious that they're just there for, to get followers online. And then, of course, it's always hilarious when they lose said Instagram followers. Who was the guy last season on the American one that everyone hated? Brett
Thomas?
Yeah, it was Brendan. Yeah, it was Brendan, right? Not Scanzano, of course.
Oh, yeah. Paradise. Yeah.
So yeah, he lost all sorts of Instagram followers because of that. So no, but Brendan Scanzano, clearly, your heart broke for him on watching that episode, and you could just tell he's a genuine great guy.
Definitely a great guy, and he continued to be the focal point of this episode. And it was here's a little nugget watching this. While we were watching this episode, we were both remarking or commenting on sometimes, the cocktails were flowing, whether it was a steam whistle or a twisted tea or some vino or whatever else it was. And perhaps, he likes to zap, as he coined, he trademarked actually. And you know what, Michael, if I was sitting on a dock, I would probably do the same thing.
And I don't know if you noticed, it's a very, very subtle thing that happened. I'm sure it was just bad editing on this, but I noticed it. There was a shot where they said, and maybe it wasn't bad editing, maybe it actually was at the time, but there was a shot of him and other people, and they said, good morning, followed by, within 2 seconds, everyone was smashing beers. It was like, whoa, good morning, and you're smashing beer. Again, it's a possibility. You're on a dock. I'm not ruling it out, but I had a feeling that might not have been the exact, that might have just, they probably stole a good morning from a different conversation or whatever, but I just thought that was interesting. I think they've also done it in past seasons as well, not just Bachelor in Paradise Canada, because obviously this is the first season of that, but they've done on other Bachelor shows, similar type thing. Good morning, boys. And then they're just hammering drinks. It's like, whoa, that seems a bit aggressive.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not one to have a morning pint per se. I just doesn't quite, doesn't quite.
A golf trip or something like that. Maybe you'd want to do that maybe early in the round, but yeah, otherwise that's way too early.
Yeah, way too early for sure. No, on the upside spectrum, on the later front, that did not. I was trying to force a segue there, and that just failed miserably. Anyway, so Ileana and Adam have this date. They're kings and queens. They're slow dancing, barefoot, kissing, taking selfies, whatever they were doing. And eventually, of course, they come back, and Ileana and Brendan Scanzano had a conversation where Ileana said, yes, we kissed, and spoke about, would she kiss him again or talk to him again? And she said, yeah. And from there, she came back, Adam took her aside again. And then would you call this chaos on the beach, where everyone is sort of like, oh my God, like the top couple, are they going to break up? Things are happening. People are feeling sorry for Brendan. You got Camille really standing up for Brendan. Good on him. Caitlin trying to get in the way too, in terms of helping Brendan. That seemed like chaos.
You know what, Adam? One day, I wish that you would have my back, like Camille has Brendan's back. I don't believe you fully are supporting the cause of me. Camille had his back so freaking hard, Brendan. I've yet to ever see you display that for me. I'm very, very upset about that. And so, yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is Camille is a better friend to Brendan than you are to me, and that's why you are not my best friend.
This has been another segment of throwing shade, another edition of Throwing Shade, presented by Kits. Get your first pair of glasses for free. I really hope they see the effort we're putting into this and give us 5 pairs of glasses each.
Yeah, so I was gonna try to go for some sort of pun with Kits, but I was like, nah, and we're not kitsing around, but like that just didn't sound good. So I'm not gonna say the joke because it just wasn't as good of as it could have been. But
perhaps having a Kit Kat bar.
Wow. Okay, let's go quick tangent on that one, Adam. Favorite chocolate bar. Oh, also, by the way, don't ever call it a candy bar, because candy bar is ridiculous. It's an American expression. Chocolate bar is the expression. I'm going to say crunchy is severely underrated crunchy
Wow.
with the honeycomb. Yeah. Amazing.
I used to I don't really eat chocolate bars anymore because I'm not 7, but maybe an Aero bar.
It was just Halloween though, obviously a couple days ago. So obviously,
Right.
I'm sure maybe you gave some out to people who were trick-or-treating. So perhaps you had some chocolate. You did not do that. Okay.
This is my first Halloween in a condo building, Bragg.
Yeah, no, I also, there was no other. But yeah, so would you say Kit Kat?
I said Aero. You remember those Aero bars?
Aero. Yeah, of course they're good.
Fine.
Yeah, I think crunchy, so good. But for the purposes of sponsorship, Kit Kat, of course, Kits, glasses, and Kit Kats are the best chocolate bars and glasses going.
That's it. I mean, you put on your Kits glasses, you have a Kit Kat bar. What more can you ask for?
You go to St. Kitts, perhaps on a beautiful beach, locale. Then you can golf in the winter, as we were saying. It's rattling to not golf in the winter, so then you can have go to St. Kitts, have your Kit Kat bar with your Kits sunglasses. Boom.
And then maybe you have a kitty cat to bring home as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is all coming together perfectly.
And then George Kittle's your favorite NFL player. George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I got that right.
You sure did, Adam.
Anyways, getting back to this podcast has seen a lot of interesting tangents today, but you know what? It's I'm not sure if you know what? We can continue with this because Joey was given that twisted date card, I guess, where he got to pick 2 people to go on a date. Now, you wonder how much this was producer driven, because Adam and Ileana, spoiler alert, were given another opportunity. First of all, loved Chris's reaction when this happened. He threw the towel. He was not happy.
I was kind of confused. I'm like, okay, what exactly is he upset about? Because obviously, was he thinking he was going to go on the date with Adam? I was like, because obviously Adam was the first choice. So I was like half kind of confused at first or whatever. I'm like, okay, what's he mad at exactly here? But yes, I love Chris. He's such an awesome character. And from all accounts, I think he also, just like Brendan, perhaps is a great guy. At least it seemed like anyway, from an outside perspective.
Spoiler alert, good guy. There may or may not have been a telephone conversation with Chris after the episode. Got to chat a little bit, and just seems like a good dude. Seems like a pretty normal, regular dude, and standing up for his buddy. And it was good to hear from him with that. But so Ileana and Adam go on a hockey date, not ice hockey, hockey, where I don't know about you, but this just seemed so incredibly forced, where they're on like a basketball court and they have a sheet of ice. It's just like, what? Like, I didn't understand that. Yeah, I agree. It did seem a little bit weird. Plus, also, Scanzy, former hockey player as well. It just seemed like that was destined. That should have been his date, obviously. I guess that's the point why it makes it even more like, oh, throwing shade, or he's not the one on the date. But obviously, it should have been him on that date with Ileana. So that was pretty, yeah. It did seem like a rather bizarre date to be having hockey in the middle of the summer, but not on ice. But I don't know. It certainly was very, very weird. Yeah, and you know what? I now that I think of it, it would have been funny to ask Brendan Scans if, while watching it, if he were to have gone on that date, because he is a goalie. Excuse me. Goalie skates are different than a regular hockey skate, because goalie skates are flat. The blade is flat. So to put that into perspective, I'd like to think I was a fairly decent goalie in my day. I tried skating on regular hockey skates and I nearly broke my face. It's a totally different action. This has been skates talk. I didn't realize that the ice hockey skates were totally different between the ice hockey goalie skates and the regular ice hockey skates. That blows my mind. Oh wow. Were you just throwing shade at me there, talking about skates, or were you just? No, I was just I was shoehorning in ice hockey because I hate when people. That's another thing. I like the candy bar thing. The ice hockey. Whenever someone says ice hockey, I was making a joke about it because it drives me crazy when someone says it's hockey. It's not ice hockey. You're just tattling on yourself for not knowing hockey if you call it ice hockey. Yeah, I totally agree. And, we saw something last week where Maple Leafs superstar Austin Matthews did a little Instagram video in partnership with Movember. And he said ice hockey, and you rolled the crap out of your eyes listening or watching that. Pretty funny video. I got to say, you got to see a lot of Austin Matthews' personality. But when he said ice hockey, it's like, okay, dude, like, what are we doing?
Great video. But come on, I just don't understand. I'm sure, obviously, you just, hey, read the script. I'm surprised you didn't go like, guys, I'm not saying ice there.
Yeah,
no, it's hockey, obviously. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, it just, you're not going to say field football or, court basketball or whatever. You're just going to, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me that people call it ice hockey. Ice hockey and candy bars and soda. I think soda also drives me, not to a lesser extent, soda instead of pop, but that's a lesser extent of those two though.
Yeah, and speaking of weird sports and you saying the wrong thing, we'll discuss Michelle's episode of The Bachelorette, where they're playing court basketball a lot during their episode in just a little bit. But do you have any final thoughts on Bachelor in Paradise Canada, like a preview, a thought here going forward? Because obviously Eliane is going to have to make a decision here.
Well, that's the thing with the preview for the episode. Sorry to interrupt there. It's certainly, I was looking for the first little while. There was no Brendan at the start of the preview for the upcoming episode. So I was like, oh, does that mean he's gone? But then later in the preview, there were shots of him. So it's like, is it possible they both stay, Adam and Brendan? I'm confused. They've only had, it's been 4 episodes. We've only had 1 rose ceremony so far. So it's like, I can never figure out, is there not even another rose ceremony this coming episode as well? I can't ever figure out the timeline of events. As we were saying, we're going to get to the Bachelorette here in a second. I actually like the fact on the Bachelorette, the first 2 episodes, there have been rose ceremonies at the end of the episodes, because for far too long now, they've just been the wild, wild west with whatever they've decided on, whether rose ceremonies here, there, whenever. It's just like, hey, I want my rose ceremony at the end of every episode, pretty much.
I mean, that's the way it traditionally was. And like you said, maybe they're going rogue with this. Yeah, I don't. It is what it is. I want to see more rose ceremonies for sure. I'm guessing we'll see one next week. I truly don't know, but I think we will see one next week. And to put a bow on that, again, a lot of fun to watch that with Brendan, as he quite honestly and literally was the star of the show. Great to hear some of his backstory, and great to hear the fan reaction comments. Standing up or supporting him, helping him, and he's a good dude. Speaking of good dudes, tonight Michelle's season of The Bachelorette continues with a lot of good dudes still around, like 15, 18. There's still a bunch of guys still left. It seems like a lot's gone on in the world in the last 7 days. It seems like last week's episode was an eternity ago. There was a basketball date. There was a one-on-one. What stood out to you most about the Bachelorette from last Tuesday?
I think what stood out to me on the first 2 episodes in general is the fact it is unbelievable, Adam. I know Michelle used to play basketball, and obviously she was a basketball star. It is incredible to me how she has never missed a shot in these 2 episodes. Is she ever going to miss a basketball shot ever? I don't know. She might never miss a shot for the rest of her career. It's uncanny how every single time when that camera's on, she happens to make shots. It's unbelievable. I just don't understand it. But in terms of actually the stuff that's gone on, obviously there's 2 people who really stood out in the second episode. That's obviously the pizzapreneur guy, Peter. He was I think his name was Will, I want to say.
Yep.
Threw shade at him, calling him a narcissist, which obviously he didn't like that. And then Peter was like saying like me, which is hilarious. The irony of that was not lost upon me. So Peter certainly was obviously a huge front and center villain, or at least they're setting him up to be that. Thankfully, at that rose ceremony, he got the last rose. Shocker that he got the last one, which was awesome because I want him to stay. Obviously, it looks like he has 0 chance of obviously finding love with Michelle, but it's good for a couple episodes because Katie's season last year, and then the start of this season, it seems like the producers aren't meddling as much in terms of keeping these interesting people. They're just like, no, get rid of them right away, which is like, I know the fans of the people people of course aren't going to like Peter. Obviously, I understand that, but you want him on the show because he's entertaining. And they've gotten rid of a lot of entertaining people early on in these seasons. So I'm glad that he stood around for at least 1 more episode.
Yeah. And I mean, how shocked were you that Peter got that final rose? Like amazed? You were flabbergasted? Like there was no, he was obviously going home, right? No, he's staying.
I was flummoxed, but again, the only thing that made me think possibly he could maybe be gone is the fact that, like I said, the last year or a couple seasons, they've actually have gotten rid of some of the interesting people, you know, like a Thomas, for example, where it's like, oh no, she'll keep Thomas, and then boom, he's gone. So, you know, at least for one more episode, he's there to wreak havoc. Along with, it's very, very fascinating that episode how he went from like you know, a touching life story, which was horrible for his family, his mom, unfortunately, horribly, tragically committed suicide. Jamie was like he went on a one-on-one date. It seemed like he was going to be, you know, obviously the star of the season, perhaps, like everyone was going to love him. And it took a dramatic 180. By the way, it's not 360, it's 180. Whenever people say 360, it's like that goes right back to square one. Yeah, dramatic 180 for him to go from like it seemed like he was going to be beloved to all of a sudden pretty much the villain, maybe even more than Peter with his antics toward the end of that episode.
Yeah, like at some point, obviously, it'll be announced that, you know, Jamie did tell Michelle about, you know, that, and I'm curious what's going to happen here going forward, because, you know, obviously that was a big part of the episode, you know, around the beginning portion of the cocktail party, where, you know, people allegedly talking about whether Michelle was already coupled up, or I'm sorry, she was booed up. I think that was the expression they use, which I never heard before, which is, it's expanding our vocabulary. It's great. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I also did notice, Michael, that our boy, Chris G from Halifax, has made it on. So we have a Canadian still in the mix on Michelle's season.
I think there's I believe there might be a second Canadian as well, but I think they might not font him as Canadian. Like he's like living in LA or something like that.
Nate.
Oh, I didn't realize he was a Canadian. Yes, Nate certainly has been front and center as well. I think he got the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first impression rose, the first episode. He certainly seems to be one of the front runners to maybe win her heart. But yeah, that Canadian guy seemed like a real beauty for sure.
Yeah, Chris seems like a good dude. Nate's apparently was born in Winnipeg, I believe, and then now lives either in Texas or LA. I don't know. But you know, it is funny watching, because we've now watched the show for a number of years, obviously, and you know, generally you get to know the contestants on the show after 2 or 3 episodes. But during that rose ceremony, especially before Michelle shockingly gave Peter the final rose, oh my goodness, the cutaways they were doing from the other guys still remaining, I didn't know who they were. Did they just pull off producers and say, hey, do you mind standing here for a second? I had no idea who those guys were.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's definitely quite a few people. I think because, like I said, we touched on obviously the Jamie drama. I don't know if we fully explained that. I can't remember, but yeah, basically him saying that Josh knew her from beforehand, and whether or not they'd been. I thought it was Josh. Was his name? Maybe yeah. You're right. My apologies, Joe. That Joe like maybe knew her before, maybe was dating her before, and he was basically like, oh, I think some of the men are questioning what's going on with that, and it's like, actually, you're the only, at least from what we see anyway, he was the only one to do so. It's possible someone else told him and they never showed it, that someone else put the bug in his ear first, and then he started to take the ball with it and roll and run with it, but. Yeah, so because of that, they didn't show a lot of those guys, and I agree. I was like, who the heck are these guys? I've never seen them in my life.
Yeah, it was certainly weird, but hey, you know what? Michelle's journey to find love continues tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, City TV, ABC. Whether you watch live or don't, online, it's going to be thrilling. It's going to be riveting, and looking forward to seeing where Michelle's heart takes her next. Well, Michael, there's been a lot going on in Bachelor Nation over the last couple of weeks or so. Of course, we spoke about Blake and Katie. There's rumors now of 2 bachelors next year. Oh, rumors. These are just rumors. Maybe at some point, I don't know if we could do this. We should have that reality Steve guy on here. That would be something.
Yeah, he knows everything. He knows all of the gossip. That's for sure.
Yeah, he is the Bachelor insider. But you know what? It's great to have so much Bachelor content here. Going, we got Bachelorette, we got Bachelor in Paradise Canada. So Bachelor in Paradise Canada, we think is going to go, I would think before the holiday season, before Christmas, that sort of thing. The Bachelorette, I would think around the same time, given that the Bachelor is set to air, I want to say in early January, as it typically was. But did you have any final thoughts, Michael, on what transpired either on Bachelor in Paradise Canada, to the Seattle Seahawks, to Geno Smith, to throw shade on someone, the Bachelorette, anything? Do you have anything you want to get off your chest here before we officially bid adieu on episode 30?
I'm glad you asked, Adam, because absolutely there's something I'm struggling to understand. We were talking about the Joe situation, the timeline of events here, and I'm truly hoping it's Michelle is the one that's lying. That would be absolutely amazing if Michelle was the one lying. So in episode 1, we were told, obviously Michelle and Joe had talked. They messaged a couple times on Instagram, and then he said, "Sorry, I ghosted you because." Last year for the horrible George Floyd situation, I wasn't in the right mental space to be able to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. So therefore eventually I ghosted you. I'm sorry for that, all that stuff. So that was the timeline of 1 year that he said that. But then Michelle, when she was trying to, and when the guys were sort of called her on, or, she was wondering about what was going on with all that, she said, "Oh yeah. It was a few years ago that we laugh about it, we joke about it now that, that Joe ghosted me." But wait, hold on. So what is the true timeline of events? Was it last year that there was some ghosting going on, or was it a few years ago, as she said, that was going on? So did you notice that, Adam? So I was like, hey, I'm genuinely curious. Is it possible that she's trying to downplay it, and actually they did have more of a dating history? That'd be amazing if she was the one sort of telling half truths here. That'd be amazing. I'd love it so much.
I didn't actually catch that watching it live, but I did see you interacting with a loyal fan or follower of yours, clearly on Twitter, I think it was, or someone tweeted out and you responded, or you tweeted out and they responded. I don't know. This is one of your millions of fans, so it's hard to keep track every once in a while. But yeah, this is something that in this day and age, obviously Bachelor Nation, there's sort of this bond between those who go on the show with in terms of social media and DMs. And obviously Joe had not been on the show before, but they were from the same area, so we've seen it before where past Bachelor contestants get together and meet each other, more in terms of before Paradise. But yeah, this is something that it's obviously going to be a storyline, a focal storyline here going forward.
Like I said, it just seems like, and the weird thing was that there was some people online that were questioning this. That's what you probably saw, because I was responding to them because they tweeted it as well, and I was kind of like, yes, thank you. That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. Like, it just seems weird, the timeline of events here. Like, what's the real story? So I'm hoping we get some clarity on that, and then we can see if her walls truly are down. Because I'm hardly a Sherlock Holmes for thinking this, that there's a little bit more to their dating history than what they're letting on so far.
I think you might be right. And, you mentioned walls are down. Episode 1, the vulnerable count was about 1 trillion episode. And this past week, it was more than that, probably. The term vulnerable is being used and over, because I feel like on Paradise, if they sort of stayed away from it, I don't know. This is just us nitpicking now, but you know what? It's another dramatic episode, and another dramatic episode gets underway tonight in just a couple of hours. Looking forward to seeing what happens with Michelle's heart here going forward, which way it will sway here. And again, Bachelor in Paradise Canada this coming Sunday. Hopefully we see another rose ceremony, and I guess we'll see what happens with our dear friend Brendan, with Chris, with everyone else on the dock. Well, Michael, it's hard to believe. 38 episodes now in the books. Next week is our milestone 39th. The Dominic Hasek edition of the Bros Ceremony will be upcoming next Tuesday. Looking forward to that. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners, subscribers, viewers for following us, liking us on our various social media platforms. We appreciate it, and we'll continue to bring you content on a weekly basis. For Michael the Hound Dog Harrison, I'm Adam Scully. We'll see you next time right here on the Bros Ceremony.